Well, African Football Connect, today we're coming live from the PSL headquarters, and the agenda is just one, it's the MTN8, and I'm here with the senior citizens of the fourth estate.
Yeah, I see you
Proper,
the big guns today.
Yeah. Senior citizens, you can see here that, yeah.
Makulukulu is in the house.
In the house,
He's in the building.
Making his debut, Makulukulu, Pungani.
You're making me older than I am. But I'm used to it now. It's fine.
Makulukulu, one of the things that we've been doing here since last week is just to look forward to these games, and I think everyone is talking about the Pirates Sundowns game, and we were at Orlando, and when you look at Pirates, I think it's good that they've registered a win last night, and also on the back of maybe an improved performance, especially in the second half at Orlando Stadium. What do you make of the Pirates, the state of the Pirates team, especially having listened to the coach here inside?
Yeah, I think it has stabilized quite a bit after that terrible start in the league, those two losses. But for me, the most impressive thing that has happened at Pirates is that of Kamogelo Sebelebele, what he brings to that team. Even now, Pirates have just lost the right back, Dino van Rooyen, but you know that Sebelebele can fill that place, while also he can be a player who can score the goal, which is exactly what he did on Saturday after replacing Van Rooyen at that position. So there is no crisis, even though in another team a loss of player of Van Rooyen's caliber would have been a huge problem. But also Coach Ouaddou now has sort of found the team that is supposed to start, and also I like the variety that he's bringing with the players like Ribeiro, Mofokeng, where he played him yesterday. He played him as number 10. He started there, and also with Mbule. Also Mbule slotted there after the injury of Van Rooyen, and then he sent Mofokeng to play wide on the wing. So there's a lot that is happening at Pirates, but it's all positive for now. So I'm hoping with all those changes we'll see a great match on Saturday.
One of the things that struck me inside from the coach, because we've been getting used to it now, this trend, especially coaches who come from outside the country bringing in their own technical teams, and we noticed that he did this thing at Gallants and now again at Pirates, not bringing his own technical team. Could this be something down the line which could impact how he works?
Well, I mean, also at Pirates, you might find that maybe he wanted to bring his own people, but it's very difficult to negotiate around those things at Pirates. But at the same time, it's always important also to find good people at the club who can help you, because some of these guys, they work against the coaches when they're at these clubs, because they've got ambitions of coaching the very same teams. Coach Mantan Ngingazi comes across as a very, very sober man. He wouldn't be that reckless of when a coach comes as an assistant. He's jealous that a new coach has come. He has found him there. I think they are working very well together. Obviously, it's still early in the season to see how this project goes. But so far, I think it's good. You would feel that the people that he has found there are helping make a great deal.
And talking about exactly that, there was an incident that happened last night that the coach didn't answer, of a substitution of Talent Mbata.
Second half.
In the second half. I don't think that substitution was sanctioned by the coach, and there was a lot of talk between Ngingazi and the head coach after that. It seems like something that the coach didn't agree with happened, especially with the substitution of Mbata. I don't know if we have to read a lot out of that. I'm not sure, but I'm just hoping both these coaches are working well together. I don't know.
Yeah, there may be a lot of things happening behind the scenes. Let's hope, because that can really cause a serious problem if they don't see things the same. Because also here, there may be a difference in terms of philosophies and that kind of thing, and that may be a big problem.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you are picking this up, or you picked this up yesterday on the back of what has been happening in the past few weeks, where you would have seen a lot of reaction coming from the fans, coming from just different sectors of the game, in terms of what is really happening at Paris.
Yeah, the way he has started, really, the teams that he picked, it was very surprising to a lot of people. I don't know why he went the way he went at the beginning of the season, but it seems to have changed now. That's why even here at the press conference, I wanted to ask him that, does he have he must have an idea now of the strongest possible team that he has there, because obviously there will be changes here and there because of suspensions and injuries and all those kinds of things. But surely by now he has the core of the team that he knows that even if there are rotations and all those kinds of things, these are the guys, when they are fit, they will play most of the games.
I think I remember your question where he did say that he knows the core of his team, and that was a good angle. And I think looking at not just the selection, the starting lineup last night, but also looking at the end of the game, players like Mabasa also coming on the field. So now you kind of, and I saw the team that he finished with. It was predominantly made up of the core of last season.
Yeah, I think there's no other way. You'll have to go back to that team. You can't just dismantle what that team with Ribeiro did in the last 3 seasons. We have to maybe put in 2 or 3 new players, like he's doing with Sebelebele and Oswin and Mbule. And then others will get their time, surely. I mean, there are games where, like, for instance, if you see what Sundowns did against Makesi, there are games where a Paris coach will get that opportunity against a team that allows him to do that. But not against Sundowns, not against Chiefs, not in those big matches that you can make these drastic changes. Yeah.
The fact that Sundowns is coming to this game with that away goal advantage to this Pirates team, does this count?
Hey, this thing is always very difficult to say whether does it work for you, does it not work for you. But if it may, for Sundowns, maybe it may be an advantage in a way, because now Pirates have to score. If the game goes 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 35, we are not scoring. If maybe Sundowns can keep the door shut until half time, Pirates can start becoming edgy and trying to get that goal. They may be desperate in a way, but it can work the other way around. If Pirates score early, then Sundowns will be the ones who will be under a lot of pressure. So it's evenly balanced. It depends on how really you look at it. Whatever situation that will unfold in the match, it can work at the advantage of a team at that particular time. But the away goal is there. Pirates still have to get the away goal. But also, even if Pirates score the away goal and Sundowns score at home, we may still have to go to extra time or those kinds of things. So I would say it's evenly balanced, but maybe because of the fact that Sundowns has scored that goal, the slight advantage may be with Sundowns.
I want us to come to Sundowns because we're talking about the advantage that they have, but also there seems to be a lot happening off the field in Sundowns. But I think one of the things we must commend that team in the professionalism, it doesn't seem to have really affected them on the pitch. You can say that because I think the issue of Ribeiro today is not something that you can keep quiet about.
It's a big issue, and it may not have affected them before. But the fact that the news broke today of what Ribeiro actually wants, he wants out of Sundowns, has already gone to FIFA. Statement from his agent and what Sundowns did to block the move and all those things. Obviously, for now, these are untested allegations. But I'm sure this matter will sort of unsettle Sundowns in a way, and I'm sure Pirates will want to capitalize on that. The fact that they will come to this match with a lot of noise.
How? Is it because there's a lot of these similar kind of cases involved in different players?
Yeah, and also because of the reshuffling that they've been doing. You know, at Sundowns, the coach spoke about the fact that he wanted to trim the team. But Ribeiro's matter is even more above that because he was the key player, he's the footballer of the season, player of the season, top goal scorer. So there's a lot around it, but even the fans are going to be talking about it. Even at the match, there will be people with some placards of whatever sort about this matter. So it's a matter that can sort of distract Sundowns going to the second leg. I don't know how much it will, but they'll have to manage it.
So this is a matter we've been seized with when talking about Sundowns and other issues involving the club for some weeks now. You can weigh in on this because now almost every week, if it's not Mudau, there's Maseko, or there's a transfer request from Kutluano.
Yeah, Makulukulu is right. It has got a potential to cause problems. But at the same time, if you look at that core Sundowns team, it has got quite a lot of experienced guys who have navigated around these things before. I mean, at the beginning of last season, there were also problems. Coach Mangoba was apparently not in good terms with certain players. Those kinds of things, and they navigated around those things. They changed their coach. For a so-called small team, that can create a lot of chaos. But they managed to navigate around it.
And now, they lost in the final to Magesi.
They lost in the final against Magesi. Now you have got this Ribeiro issue. You have got the Mudau issue is still outstanding. The guy is not playing, which is a big problem for the national team. So yeah, I think they just need to have a very good management system behind the scenes to say, let's not focus on this thing, let's focus on preparations. We've got a big game at the weekend, and let's go to the match as if what has happened has not happened. But yeah, with most of the players that they have there with experience and seniors, I'm sure they'll be able to navigate around this thing. But it's not going to be an easy thing.
Yeah, but I need us to lighten up because something exciting happened last night when you are referring to this Sundowns team. It's not every day that you get a player who is about to break this record, because this record has been there for more than a decade now, of Peter Shalulile being tied with Belano Vet on 129 goals. And at some stage it looked like he was not even going to be here, because he was also one of the players. Maybe you could have said he was in a similar situation, but he's handling it differently.
Maybe before Makulukulu
yes.
Actually, I'm told Ribeiro was, Shalulile was actually gone. You know, and I think he only came back because of this Ribeiro situation. They realized that they may be down in numbers, and then they convinced him to come back. He could have left without having achieved this milestone. It's a problem. Obviously, it's 1 away now to set a new record, which is good, but it could never happen to a nicer guy, really. A professional, a guy who really takes his football very seriously. You never hear anything bad about the guy. He's a professional guy. And also look at the way he took the goal yesterday. There was a pass from Tasriq. He controlled with the right, he beat the defender. With his left weaker foot, picked the spot and he put it in there. Everybody ran to celebrate with him because they've been waiting for this moment for a long time. And I felt also...
And they understand what is happening behind the scenes to him.
Yeah, and I think also it's a little bit belated, because I felt whoever was at the club was behind him not playing last season did him an injustice, because he could have scored maybe maybe even 10 goals more now if he was playing last season. So that in itself, I think, is something which should not have happened. And hopefully, it looks like he's back. His mind, his focus is there. He will play consistently this season, and he will score more goals for them.
I was there, Makulukulu, when one of the guys from Highlands Park scouted him during a COSAFA tournament playing for Namibia. And I remember even in 2011 I watched him in the Bay Hill tournament playing against the likes of Kik and Dole, young Peter Shalulile. I've seen him at 2 AFCONs in 2019 in Egypt, and also the most recent one in Cote d'Ivoire. I think when you look at Peter Shalulile, is a model professional, and I'm not saying anything, but to see him setting a new record this weekend would be something special.
Yeah, no, he is. Also now with this record, there will be a lot of debate about the fact that is he the greatest foreigner we have ever had in South Africa. I mean,
you're opening another one now, Makulu.
yeah, and he's got the right to claim that because he's got, I mean, to beat the South Africans also because South Africans, they are here, they've been playing all their lives.
A number of league titles.
Yes, a number of league titles. There's so much that this guy has done, and also his professionalism. How he's even handling the fact that he nearly gone, and now he's back, and he has to focus, and he has to score goals. So only Peter Shalulile can do that because of how professional the player is. Yeah.
Because also locally, you can think the only player who is active now, who may likely get there, is Brother Grobler, but he's a little bit back far.
Yeah.
I think it's about
120.
It's still too far. If he continues to play like he gets opportunity this season, he'll probably score more, and that record will stay there for a very long time.
Yeah. Also, provided nothing happens to Shalulile now in terms of moving.
Yeah, because he may still move.
Yeah, Shalulile can go on to make it 1/5 or something. It's possible with him. At Sundowns.
Yeah, but let's just go back to football and close this now. How do you see penning it out at the end, this game?
It's a difficult one, this one. It's one of those ones where you really can't put your hand on the block. I watched Sundowns last night against Magezi. Sundowns is a team that takes a while to... They're like a truck, you know. A truck, when it's at the beginning, is very slow, and they need time to pick up momentum. They are not that impressive in their play. It's just that they just know how to grind results, especially against the smaller teams, which really has been the difference between them and the rest of the teams. Because you can see Pirates and Chiefs and maybe Stellies and Sekhukhune, they struggle against the so-called smaller teams. Sundowns beat these small teams, which is what
and that's where you win the league.
That's where you win the league. But in terms of playing and when you go back 5-6 years ago, it's not quite the same.
So maybe when it comes to knockout football, this is where they fell short, because that's where BMT is needed on the spot.
And also, I think the recent results in cup matches favor Pirates. I mean, they remember they won 3-0 in Polokwane in the semis. They also beat Sundowns in the final of the Nedbank Cup. So everything seems to be favoring Pirates, but anything can happen in this game. You can't really say, because I know how desperate Sundowns are to make their mark, especially in this cup, because they've been battling to win it. So any results really we can get on Saturday. It's difficult to predict what's going to happen, but it's evenly balanced.
Because also, if you look at Makulu talking about desperation, if you check over the last few years, Sundowns have actually not won enough matches of consequences in cup competitions, semi-finals and finals. They've not done well in that space. They dominate in the league, but when it comes to cup competitions, semi-final, finals, they generally don't win those matches enough.
We can think about many of those you've just mentioned. There's the two legs, especially the Saleng leg in Polokwane, the relay Shibobo to Zungu,
Bloemfontein,
so
they fall short on matches of consequences.
Yes, losing in the semi-finals at home last season to Stellies. So very interesting. But I think we must just wrap up with the second semi-final, and it's a very interesting one because these guys are leading 2-0, Stellenbosch, but now Stellenbosch have not been really good travellers in Limpopo, but at the same time Sekhukhune, they don't have an away goal, and it would have helped if they have an away goal, and if Stellenbosch can just get one away goal in this tie, it complicates things. And I saw the changes that Steve Barker made last night. Those 4 changes in the second half that was an indication that
they were really planning for the second leg. They're taking it very serious. But Sekhukhune, they have an ability to come back. They really do, especially in Polokwane, with all the form that we have seen of Grobler, especially of Makhalwa, of Tambo. Those players are playing very, very, very well. So this is another match that we can't really say it is already been settled, because Stellies are leading. They are leading, but they have to do a lot like Steve Barker has said, to make sure that they go to the final. So yeah, it's difficult to predict.
I liked what Coach Eric was saying about Maghalwa, because sometimes, you know, you go on a lull and then you think it's a pity that this Bafana squad, prelim squad, is not out yet, because surely is making the team. But I like the way he's gone deeper into getting him to develop the hunger.
Yeah, there was a time when Maghalwa at Sundowns looked like he would be one of the next best thing. With that team of Coach Pitso, with Madisha and them, Pesitao. Something went wrong, but it's good that he's back now. See already has pumped out a lot of assists already. There will be a lot of discussion as the season goes. If he continues like this, it will be good for him. I just hope also he can increase a little bit on the scoring. He needs to score a little bit more. But assists for his position also are the currency. So if he creates chances for other people, it will be good. And also it will be good for Bradley Khola. We're just talking about the all-time leading goal scorer. I think Bradley Khola can benefit a lot from his supply in the box there. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm happy for him. He's one player who really... time is still a little bit on his side. It's not that old.
Yes.
So maybe in January or whenever he can move to a bigger club. But for now, the focus will really just be on trying to help the Sekhukhune to achieve the ambitions here. But coming back to the match of that one, also a difficult one to predict, because 2-0. Yeah, as the coach was saying, it's like half time you are leading 2-0. The team that can come back and, you know, if they score one quick, they push. There's momentum. You know, the team that has been leading 2-0, that's considered one. You start doubting yourself as they come. Anything can happen, you know. So it's a tough one to sort of predict what's going to happen. But I'm sure whoever goes through there and whoever goes through in Moripe, either way will have a good final here. So we can't have Sundowns Pirates, but. Yeah, I mean, whatever happens, we'll have either Sundowns or Pirates in the final, which will be good for the sponsor.
Yeah, no, but I think it's going to be more exciting when you also look at technically these two teams and the two coaches, because all the coaches, maybe with the exception of Ouaddou, they've won something in the last 5 years, maybe. When you look at Tinkler, he's won something as well, either with Cape Town City or with SuperSport United. When it comes to trophies, so the experience is also there.
Yeah, I think obviously mammoth task ahead of us. Not going to be easy. Watching Stellies again last night against Pirates, they're not an easy team to break down. Defensively, they're quite organised, quite structured, and obviously they're very, very dangerous on the counter-attack. We find ourselves in this situation by giving away 2 silly goals away from home. But now at home, we need to try and rectify those mistakes, be positive, go with a positive mentality into the game, know that we have everything to gain as long as we can get ourselves back into the game nice and early. And possibly try and turn that result around. But we're probably going to have to play the best football we've played this season. I think obviously our game against Orbit was a lot better than what we did against Stellies. So if we can replicate what we achieved against Orbit, but raise our level even higher, then we stand a chance to turn the result around in our favour. Yeah, obviously, I try and treat it almost like this is the second half of the game, and you tunnel down exactly what happened against TS Galaxy. So what becomes important, obviously we have to take more risk in attack. We have to be a lot braver on the ball. We have to be more assertive in attack. But you mustn't be stupid. You've got to be clever. You know they're going to look to try and hit you on the break and on the counter-attack. Your work ethic has to be really, really high. Your concentration levels has to be very, very high. But you need to be positive to be able to go out there and obviously look to try and get that early goal, as I said. 2-1 lead is never a comfortable position for the team that finds itself in that 2-1 lead position. So as I said, if we can get an early goal, that'll put a lot of pressure on them. And obviously it will motivate us even more to want to go and get the equaliser. Kaletso, he had a very, very good season. I actually worked with Kaletso a little bit at Maritzburg when I joined. Kaletso was there and I sent him back to Sundowns. And I think, we all identified that he's a talented player with natural talent, natural ability. And I think he needed to go through a learning phase. And probably going, like you said, to Uppington was a good thing for him, to make him grounded. And I think last season he had a great season. And obviously a lot of speculation come the end of the season of where his future lied. A lot of it was through the media, and I think it affected him at the beginning of the season. He didn't perform well at all pre-season in the games that we played, the friendlies. He didn't perform well the first 2 matches. In fact, the first 3 matches he wasn't great. Needed to sit him down. We were speaking about managing the player, so that was my task, managing him, making him aware that he is a Sekhukhune United player. And if a right offer came, then that offer would be accepted. But if it's not the right offer, then he will continue to be a Sekhukhune player. So he needed to understand that. And I think gradually he's come to recognize that the opportunity is still there, it will come again. Can he repeat what he done last season, this season? Then people might take him more serious. And I had to sit with him and show him that, understand something, you've become a target. When you're successful, people will start targeting you and they'll want to bring you down. Players now study you, they know what you do. Teams have studied you. We showed him clips in the first 2-3 games. Every time he got the ball, he had 2-3 players around him, pressing him, because they know that he's a threat. So he has to diversify his game. He cannot be the same player. He has to add elements to his game to become a better player. So, and I gave in my last press conference the example of Salah. Salah does the same thing week in, week out. He scores goals, he creates assists, teams study him, but he still finds ways to still create those goals and those assists. And in the first 3 games, he was being closed down and he wasn't finding alternatives. So I had to try and help him in terms of him understanding how he could rectify his game to become more effective.
Yeah, look, obviously looking forward to another exciting challenge for us. Having made last year's final, we obviously would love to be back in another final. We started the first leg or the first half of this game well. We achieved our objectives of scoring some goals and also not conceding an away goal. So I thought we were really good on the day at home against Sekhukhune. But we are very aware that the game is only halfway done, and Sekhukhune are a very good team. They're showing that in their league form. Obviously, they have the same ambitions to be getting in the final, so we understand that the challenge will be big for us. But at the same time, we've got to reward ourselves for a first half that was the first leg, which we achieved what we want to do. So it's up to us now, and it's our responsibility to go there for the second leg and ensure that we get ourselves into the final. Obviously, I think we've learnt over the last season or so in these home and away ties playing in Confed is that sometimes going away from home you have to be braver than at home, just because of the importance of the away goals. So obviously that's part of us. We can't go there and expect that we can just defend our 2-0 lead. That would be unwise. I believe that we've got to be positive. We've got to take the game to Sekhukhune, and we've got to try and get an important away goal, which then I believe puts us in a really, really strong position. I think a good point that you've made is obviously, having played home and away ties last year in the MTN8 with Sundowns, and then obviously we had 6 in the Confed. We've had a good record. The only one that we've not come through over home and away is against Simba. And we also learned from that occasion. So what we do know and what we have learned is that never ever think that the job is done until it's done. We cannot become complacent. We cannot believe that a 2-0 lead is anything. In my opinion, you've got to start the game on a clean slate. We've got to approach it with positive mindset. We've got to be able to take the game to Sekhukhune and, ensure that we don't just allow them. Obviously, the first 20-30 minutes will be crucial. I'm sure they will be coming out, hopefully, to get a goal and then, put themselves in a position to perhaps get the second and maybe take it to penalties, or maybe they have other ambitions to take it further. So we cannot go there and expect that they're not going to cause us problems. They're a good team. Michal is a really good player. Krobler's a good finisher. Kube is showing he's a good finisher. They've got good experience at the back. But at the same time, we've grown as a team in these type of competitions. We've learned how to come through difficult situations. So this is not a difficult situation in terms of the scoreline, but during the match there will be periods that we're going to have to come through and deal with. But the most important part is that we've got to go there and we've got to get a goal, if not two, and take the tie away from them. I think, again, it's through past experience playing a team so close twice. There's opportunities because one knows exactly, I wouldn't say exactly, but you know them well enough. We've done obviously our analysis before the first leg. They've played midweek, they got a good result. So we know what to expect, we know what type of plays they have. We've recently played against them, so in terms of our preparation, it does make the preparation easier. The key part is just dealing with moments in the game. So there'll be big key moments, whether it's us in possession and looking to score a goal, or making sure that we don't concede early. So I don't see it as more difficult. I see it as two teams that will know each other well, having played each other recently. So preparation will be key. It'll go down now more to finer details, that will be important in the match. Most certainly we've learned a lot. It wasn't long ago, probably around 2.5, 3 seasons ago, I always looked at Mamelodi Sundowns as the team in South African football that was just above everyone else. And one of the things I realized about them is that the experience they gain on the continent, the way they manage games, the way they sort of approach certain matches, whether it's a home, whether it's away. And I think the experience that they gained over the years playing in Confed stood them in good stead when they went to the Club World Cup. So, I've always said that, we've got to also learn quickly. It must not take us 2-3 seasons to learn. So we had a really good experiences last year, and it's learned us that, you have to be resilient. We started our group stages with 2 losses, came back to qualify. Obviously, didn't score at home against Zamalek, went away and won the game. So what we have learned is to overcome adversity, to bounce back from setbacks. I believe that we're a team that do that well. Important for us, obviously the league campaign is a separate campaign, but we've also learned good lessons in the last sort of 3 matches. And if in losing, if you don't learn and you don't become better and you don't grow, then there won't be progression. So we see Saturday as an opportunity for us to just focus solely on the MTN, to ensure that we get into a final, and once we're in the final, then obviously to take that game as a separate entity. So it's focus on Saturday, get the job done, and then thereafter we've got 2 important league games before we have the FIFA break and before hopefully a final.
The league, the magic of the cups matches. If you want to go through, definitely to go to the final, you cannot just go to Mamelodi Sundowns and to sit. Of course, it will be a very tactical game, for sure, but for them as well, how they will play. Are they going to defend this goal? It's a lot of questions, but for sure, what I can tell you that it will be a fantastic game for the fans. It's a very important event in South Africa, so I hope that the stadium will be packed again and the 2 teams will play some nice football. That's it. Fantastic moment for a coach when you are playing this kind of game front of such fans and with one of the biggest clubs in Africa, 2 big teams all on the parade, and Mamelodi Sundowns. What we can expect more for a coach? So I think it's a big event for a coach, and we we will try to prepare it in the best way to go through and to go to the semi-final. To the final, and to definitely to try to achieve something, because like I told you, we have a title to defend. I think it will be tricky. It's tricky for both teams, you know. Like I told you, you have to be very smart, very clever about the approach of the game. So it will be interesting to see how the two teams will approach that game. Of course, we cannot give you our plan now, but what I can, it will be a very interesting game for both sides. No, to be honest, I don't look about what they did. Of course, we have seen the result, but yesterday I was focused 100% in our team, and that's it. I think, like I told you, the cup games is nothing to do with the rest, or for me it's here, it's in the head, it's mental. Do you want to go through? Do you want to go to the final? Are you fancy to keep the title? Are you going to play as a unit? Sometimes in the cup games you need to go to find the resources. Especially when you play extra time. We don't think about tiredness. It's how you deal with the event, how starving you are, how hungry you are on the pitch. Do you want the cup more than the opponent or not? So it's something that I cannot explain, but sometimes these cup games coming from the heart, from deep, you know. I believe that we have such talent, such competencies in our continent. It's just because some people don't want to see it, or they don't want to profile it, and sometimes they don't have time. But I believe that if we give confidence to the competencies, local competencies, we can find it. And I'm very happy about what I found in Orlando Pirates. Very competent people, very organized club, and definitely every day I am surrounded of competencies, and sometimes people have to pay attention to what you have in your country. I always say that the grass is not more green in other places. You can find it's a say in France. We can find a good green grass at home.
Sundowns is not making any noise around whatever happens. Mamelodi Sundowns is preserving everything that might be happening and keep it inside locker rooms, inside the doors, let's say. The locker room is impossible to be raped. It's impossible to be broken by these kind of things. The locker room is too strong. The values inside the club are too strong, so that these kind of events touch whatever. The focus is so strong on becoming better, on working for preparing every match, and the time is so small that the levels of concentration, of course, must be so high that we don't have to relate with what happens around. We have always the philosophy of if someone falls, two should rise. That's how we develop character, how we shape character, and I think that's how has been written the story of Mamelodi Sundowns, by strong characters, by strong values, by strong people, and whatever happens, it's always solved inside doors in the best way possible, and for sure in the right moment, spoken publicly. Obviously that when you have only one player for that position available, you are always a native player, a player that always it gives always some discomfort to the coach. That's why, and let's think that Keegan Ioannis, that also can play on the right, was a national team. Let's understand that Mudau is not available in the moment. Let's understand that Moreno was injured, just to And now you understand why, because I heard so much thoughts about that, why Fawaz also had to play on the right, because we could not risk to play all the matches in a row with Zuko in order not to risk to lose him, and then we would have non-player or any player to play on that position that is native from the position. So what we did was exactly manage the players that we had available. Of course, now that Tapelo is already available, it gives us more options for the future, for the nearest future. And from there, our thoughts and our work, it becomes absolutely different. And for example, going back on Fawaz, yesterday you saw him obviously as an option on the left. So it's up to us, because it's very interesting, because we sometimes my assistant coaches, they or brief me on some things that people discuss and speak, and sometimes so many things are written and said that have nothing to do with the reality that is happening inside the club, or the conditions of the players, or the players that are available, or why we decide to do that, and people just think that it's the head of the coach that is brewing something that no, it's because it's what we have to do in order to manage the situation, the moment, the condition of the players, who we have available, or who we need available in the following match that we need to manage here, and considering what happened before, the game time of the players, the risk of injuries, the fact that they are injured or have a small thing that sometimes need us to protect him from an exposure for a long time on the match. So there are so many things that must be managed that that only us have the knowledge to really then understand why we put a certain lineup sometimes to play. It looks that it's just come out of nothing, but nothing is done without a lot of analysis, a lot of thoughts, a lot of discussion, reflection, and even sometimes like that we have to risk, and even sometimes we have to risk. But we always prefer to keep the players as available as possible, because we know that the hard schedule that we have will make some players fall naturally, because the aggression is very big. If we don't take care of them, and we also expose them to situations where we increase the risk of losing players, then we are not being intelligent or wise. And that's always what we do.
As we spoke since the beginning, and it's a cliche, but it's a true fact, is matches like or competitions or knockout rounds in 2 matches are always very tough, both matches. Obviously, that theoretically people can state that there's an advantage, because we already played away and we were able to score 1 goal. And then we play home, but I really see it as in a theoretical plan. I think that objectivity of football is what is going to happen inside the 4 lines. 2 teams with a strong will, as we saw in the first match, to make the things fall for their side. After we took a look on the first match, it was clear that it was not a very beautiful match of football. And I don't expect the second one to be much far away from that. The teams are more fighting rather than looking to play. Difficult to escape from the duels, difficult to escape from the physical part of the match. Well, I hope that, of course, we can increase the level on the second half, on the second match, and see a more beautiful football match than we saw in the first one. And I say that because I think that as much as us, Mamelodi Sundowns, can make it the way we like it to be, of course, as much we take advantage out of it, and we have a clear intention to win the match, because we don't consider that having scored away and coming from a draw away gives you that comfort, as if we had scored another goal and made another result, we could have got. So expectations of a tough match against a serious opponent, the level of matches every player and every coach wants to be involved in, and every fan wants to watch with a lot of emotions. any coach that thinks that managing a draw advantage because you score away and tries to take the game in that way is making a big mistake. So it's not over even in my way of approaching a football game, and for sure also not in the nature of our players in our club. We have a big responsibility, and the responsibility is obviously to make the best possible out of this semi-final, and to make it we need to be aggressive enough to have our moments, to create our moments, and to score goals. I believe that we need to score goals if we want to go through, because we also play against a team that can score any moment by the quality of the players that will for sure line up on the other side. What is obviously important is that the teams understand how they can be aggressed, and how we can take offensive actions that can aggress Orlando Pirates, and that's what we're going to do for sure. So these kind of matches are matches that tactically must be very well prepared, because obviously conceding is also what takes out the advantage of the goal that we scored away, and scoring just gives you one goal advantage, because if Orlando Pirates scores again any moment, then we get a null and we still need to fight for more. So I think that our approach will be like a normal match. We want to win.
So, Matota, okay, and I can say in a Chigeleza, you're not giving me a proper prediction. Who are two finalists?
Two finalists.
Yeah.
Oh, Paris Stellies. Yeah, maybe I should go for that. Based on the past few seasons. Yeah, that's all. Based on that. Yeah.
Hey, Makulkul.
Yes, a brave man. It's a brave man. I don't know. The only thing I can say,
you must have Zizo.
The only thing I can say, I had someone.
Well, now I'm gonna give you mine.
I had someone on Instagram saying, "Because of man's pants." So yeah, it's a difficult one, man. I don't know. I think Stellies have got a chance that side. That side I'll pick Stellies. This one, I really don't know. It's gonna be difficult. I think if you put a gun on my head, I don't know. Let me go with my Makulukulu and say Pirates will beat Sundowns. I think Sundowns are not really, they are not, they are still on a lower gear.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they're still in lower gear, Pirates may just dominate them. Yeah.
This is a 3-member panel, so mine was a casting vote, so there's no need for me to come in with a casting vote.
No.
It's
safe for now.
Yeah, well, that was myself with senior citizens, coming from, no, not Jonic, not Avosa, Arena.
It's called Arena Holdings.
Arena Holdings now, Yeah.
Times Live and Sunday Times.
Yeah. Times Live and Sunday Times, the biggest newspaper in South Africa, Sunday Times. Still are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. On Sunday, Oh, no, without a doubt.
That other one agrees.
When you come to the
other one is no longer there, agree.
Yeah, no. Without a doubt, Sunday Times is just like myself from the biggest state broadcaster on the continent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But otherwise, that was us, Matlatim Patlele here.
Thank you.
And also myself, Willem Nyandu, and the senior member. And let me have a disclaimer. I just want to introduce our esteemed.
Yeah, he says he likes it behind camera. Now he's bringing Manchester United. What is going on? What is going on? Yeah, let us give you. What is your prediction? Let me interview you. What do you think is going to happen at the weekend? Let's start with Sundowns Pirates.
Sundowns Pirates. I think Sundowns for the win.
Okay.
Yeah. Stellies already have the advantage, so
Stellies,
I'll go for Stellies.
All right.
Yeah. So Sundowns Stellies final.
Yeah.
Just to balance things out.
Okay.
They're coming for him.
Yeah, but let me tell you that our predictions and even our takes on this is purely from a journalistic point of view.
Nothing personal.
Nothing personal. And also, we are not your technocrats. We're not going to give you half space on all those things. So how we discuss the game is how we see it and how we view it according to how we engage with coaches and players.
All right. Thank you very much. And come early to the stadium, eh?
Please.
It's going to be a problem that
From 10 a.m. If you're coming from Joburg, you should be making your way that side. Jumbo Africa. Today we're coming live from the Far Post head offices. The last time I was here, there was a striker here. And the conversation was around Coach Navi way back in the time. But Mto, we welcome you. Welcome back home in South Africa.
Asante.
Asante.
Asante sana kaka yangu.
Au, Jumbo Africa. Those are the greetings that we are used to here on the African Football Connect. We've been courting you, trying to get you on African Football Connect for a very long time, but I don't think there could have been a better moment than now, especially when you talk about what has been happening in African football. You've just landed back from East Africa. You were based in Kampala in Uganda. I'm not sure if you went to your second home in Dar or even in Nairobi. But just to look back at this CHAN tournament, what can you say about what you've seen so far?
Look, thank you so much for having me. My debut on African Football Connect, I mean, such a joy. Look, it's been an incredible tournament, very interesting. You know, I was in Kampala, but also had my other eye in Kenya to see what Coach Benny was doing there, and also had my other eye there in Tanzania. You know, but I think it's been. There's a lot of talent in Africa. Quite interesting that there's been a lot of speculation in terms of player movements, you know, while the tournament is ongoing, you know, because scouts are watching, you know, overseas clubs are watching, you know, there's conversations going on around players that are actually playing in this tournament. So I think that's the importance of the CHAN. Very, very interesting so far.
So you actually... because I'm sure some of them even attend matches. You get to mingle a lot with some of the scouts?
Absolutely, absolutely. In Kampala, there is a player from Uganda who caught a lot of interest. You know, obviously you'd have conversations with the scouts there. There was a player as well from Guinea. I think 2 players from Guinea as well. There was about 3 clubs that were looking at them. So yeah, it's always interesting for you as a journalist because then you exchange contacts and you start following these players, you start following the clubs as well, just to see how far it will go. Okelo. You know the story.
Got delay in the last game, eh?
Yeah. No. I mean, sweet left foot, very interesting player. You know, what he does with the ball is just incredible. I mean, I can whisper that young Africans were actually looking at him as well. He's a player that they could even go for in December.
And actually the boy, I think it's just been unfortunate because he had a number of opportunities. And I think he's played outside Uganda before. I think at some stage he was even linked with Sundowns, I think. But I guess you also need these kind of tournaments to spark the revival.
Yeah, true. I think he had a stint in North Africa, but things didn't work out. Went back. Now plays in this CHAN tournament, and all of a sudden, he's being looked at by clubs, you know, all over the continent. Also South Africa as well. You know, there are clubs that are actually this boy. There could be something here. You know, in East Africa, they are looking at him. So. This is the importance of this tournament, and I think that's why it must be taken seriously. I mean, you'd remember that before, during the qualifiers.
Yes.
I mean, someone like Jamie Weber had not played football for almost a year. I spoke to him recently, and he told me, he said, look, if it wasn't for this tournament, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I think that's the importance. You look at an Aiden McCarthy now, he's starting games because of this tournament. So that's the importance.
Yeah, actually, because Aiden, I mean, he was not in the picture. He was just a DDC player at Chiefs. And when he played those qualifiers, the CHAN qualifiers, then even the coach Nabi started to invite him to train with the senior team. And I remember even someone like Neo Mayema was also not in the picture at Sundowns, not even making match day squads.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he played in the Champions League final. Went on to play also in the FIFA Club World Cup.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a tournament that has always revived, careers as well, and also even from Bafana's side. I mean, in this tournament, someone like Kutumela now possibly could even be playing in the CAF Champions League this season.
Look, quite interesting because I spoke to the coach, Coach Ntseki, after the first game, seeing Malibongo Koza playing in midfield.
Yes. And I remember listening to your question there.
And he said to me, listen, this is a future Bafana player. I mean, the kind of quality that the young man showed, to a point that I had a conversation with a US-based coaches in the MLS, basically asked, so who's this boy? You know, so I just gave him a bit of history about the boy. That look. Sundowns last season played him as a centre back. He played in about 27 games. It was his first season. Now comes into this tournament and he's playing in midfield and he's done exceptionally well. So it's very interesting conversation. You mentioning Kutumela, there is a lot of eyes all over him as we speak. So I think that's the importance of this tournament. We can't overemphasize it.
Poor cheaper man, because this is a deal that could have been concluded before the CHAN.
Look, it's. I think it comes back to the issue of alignment. It must be clear as a club. I think Stellies have done it very well. TS Galaxy are doing it very well. I mean, they're just above us. They've done it very well, where they've gotten players, brought them into a high performance environment, and these players. They go on. I mean, we were watching Sebelebele in the last two games calling for
I'm surprised most people are catching up to him now. And another player brought in even in the COSAFA Cup squad as well. And what I like with TS Galaxy is also that Sebelebele, even during the business of the season, they still avail Sebelebele to Bafana.
Exactly.
I think one of the CHAN qualifiers and then COSAFA.
True. So you look at that and you realize the importance of being aligned. I think the coach at TS Galaxy understands that here we're going to bring in this player from the first division, unknown. He's going to come in here and he's going to play and we'll sell him. We're going to go and get a player who is seemingly, who is being overlooked elsewhere. He'll come in here because of the environment, the way we play. He's going to be appealing to the next big team, And I think that's the reason Kutumela is not at. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, he's gone there to the CHAN and he's been scoring goals. I mean, everyone was asking about him and saying, but why doesn't this guy have a club? People were asking me, and I'm like, look. It's football, man. Sometimes, these footballers just need opportunities. Give him an opportunity, put him on the field, he's going to score goals. And these goals that he scored, the CHAN, beautiful.
Quality goals. And I think the experience of having been at Orlando Pirates, Emerald Sundowns, you are exposed to CAF Champions League, even CAF Confed as well. A player with Olympic experience at international level has been there with Bafana as well. So I think really something here to be. But I'm also interested now in terms of just overall, in terms of the quality of football that you've witnessed in this tournament. Because what was more interesting with me, especially in the group that you were covering, if you look at Uganda where they started, I think they opened with a 3-0 loss to Algeria.
To myself.
But they ended up topping the group.
Yeah. Look, the quality of football was exciting, man. Going to CHAN, anyone would have said to me, but where are you going there? This is just South Africa is taking 14 free agents, but the quality of the football was exceptional. The first game, Uganda loses 3-0, and I'm like, oh no, we can't have hosts crashing out in this manner, But they bounce back, in the next two games, they're scoring goals and they're not conceding any, They beat Niger, they beat Guinea convincingly. They fired 3 goals past the Guinea, without conceding. So I think that tells you they really bounced back, played some good football. I watched Guinea. And I said, after Guinea lost to Bafana, I said, we won the game, but they played the football. I enjoyed the passing game, you know. But I think their biggest mistake was when they got to the final third, they didn't take their chances. They still wanted to play it nice and, you know.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason. There's a friend of mine, Tano Diallo, from Guinea, is based in Belgium. And he always reminds me, that's why we're called the Brazil of West Africa. And you can tell with their football as well there. But I think from a South African point of view, what have you taken from this tournament? Yes, we went there with free agents, but how best can we use this tournament to develop? Because Coach Hugo Bruce always emphasizes the importance of Kosafa and Chan in building Fisher Bafana squad. Understanding the challenges that we have, that we cannot stop our league. I mean, I was looking this weekend. Sir Belouizdad and Coach Rolani's team, MCLJ, was supposed to open the league program in French Professional Ligue 1. You know, but they have to hold on because players are away. But what's the best way of accommodating this very important pathway of international football?
Look, I think it's a very important tournament. I think that can't be overstated. And I think it needs to be taken with a bit of seriousness because they are scouts.
100%.
They're looking at 100%. So from the association side, it needs to be taken from a coaching point of view. Who coaches this team? I still argue and say, if you've got an assistant coach, Helman Kalele, who's been understudying Hugo Bruce, why is he not coaching?
Exactly, because that's what other national teams were there.
Yeah, so because if you're using this tournament to further develop your play and also broaden the pool of players that you have. I mean, we do know that Coach Hugo has a pool of plus minus 50 players that he's looking at. Why not? Of course, you're not going to take the cream of the crop. Why not bring in players that are also in that group that he's looking at? You know, to go and play in that kind of tournament, because then it gives them experience. Also, for a coach who's going to be sitting in the qualifiers, having watched these players, is able to give good feedback to the coach. So the association needs to take it seriously from that point of view. From a preparation point of view, you need to prepare for it. You know,
100%.
You obviously then need to have some sort of synergy between the association and the PSL in terms of accommodating this tournament, because it's an important tournament, just like Kosafa. It's a very, very important tournament because it revives the careers of these footballers. So there needs to be some sort of conversation, around how it's managed. You may want to look at a scenario where you probably even take your under-23s, because these are players that are almost ready to get into the senior national team. There's not too many activities for under-23s. This could be an opportunity to bring in those players, but with a coach who sort of...
Yeah, the only challenge is that when it's international week, because all these under-20, under-23 players, they're also key players now in PSL clubs and sometimes. So I really hope that in future we can really find this. I want to come... we're still in conversation with the four-post editor here. Sazi Hadebe is just returned from the Chan tournament. Benny McCarthy, I look at the crowds at Kasarani Stadium where they were playing. I also just look at the mood. I watched this game against Morocco. I think they played almost the entire second half with one man down, but still, and the way they were driving that game, the defensive structure, everything there, and looking in comparison with players who are coming from USM Alger, in fact, not USM Alger, but two players who are coming from Raja Casablanca, Wydad Casablanca, RS Berkane, Asfa, and I'm like, Coach Benny has done something with this team.
Yeah, no, I think considering, it's my team's first time that we are in this predicament. We're in the quarterfinals. I think it's very calm in camp. I think everyone's probably just soaking up the atmosphere and what they've achieved, but we know there's still much more hard work to come from this, and team will be ready for tomorrow. So today we have our last training sessions where we just work on last bits for tomorrow. But yeah, I think calmness is what we need. It's good that the occasion don't get to become too big for the players. So that we keep our feet on the ground and we stay humble and we just enjoy the ride that we're on. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow, and hopefully, you know, we can do ourselves and our families proud again. But most of all, the nation, the fans that came out and support the team incredibly well, and part of the reason we are in this situation, because we had the best support we could have hoped for. So tomorrow it's our turn to deliver and hopefully give them even an extra bit of joy to advance. But football is never easy, so we know we've got a tough opponent ahead of us, but I think we'll be well prepared and we focus on ourselves. So come tomorrow, we know what we have to do, and we know what we want to achieve, but our opponent stands in our way, so we have to have the perfect game plan, the perfect execution if we're going to make Kenya happy and enjoy the tournament further. Yeah, of course, we've done our homework on our opponents, so we know their strengths, and we also know where they're maybe not as strong and that. But I think the group stages we've been in, it's been a hard-fought group. There's almost been no rest for the team, because every team we had to face is probably equally as strong to win the Chan tournament. So yeah, it's really been a tough time, and we kind of surpassed that, and now it's only going to get tougher. So I think it depends on how well we prepared and how mentally ready my team will be. And as long as we go onto the field knowing that we give 100% and we play to our full potential that everybody knows in the team that they have, then it's something positive can come from this, because I think after the test that we faced in our group stages, there's not really a team that we're kind of afraid of anymore, or that we think our chances are slim against the teams, because yeah, when you face DRC, Angola, Morocco and Zambia, it's a tough task, and you say to yourself, like, our chances is slim to none, but we proved ourselves and everybody else as well that we are well capable of surpassing this. So whoever comes next will be a really good challenge, and we just try and focus on ourselves, what we have to do, and yeah, that it will be good enough for us to maybe advance to the next stage. Our expectations is very high. We set the goal for ourselves before the tournament started. We analyzed our group stages and the teams we could possibly face if you advance to the group stages. Not that we're looking that far ahead, but I think as a team, if you don't have goals, if you don't have certain expectations of yourself, then you give yourself just shortcomings. You don't think that you would reach far. So for our goals, when we get to our destination, you will know what our goals was, but from everybody in the squad, we know exactly what we want to achieve and where we want to be. And Madagascar will just be another obstacle in our way to achieving what we want to achieve. But we know in football nothing is given. No matter what we've done previously, Morocco, Angola, DRC, Zambia is forgotten now. Now we have to focus and face our next obstacle, and I think we'll prepare as best as we can, because us falling short to what we want to achieve, our goals, will only depend on ourselves. How well and how hard we want to work will all be down to us. And if we want to win the game, we have to be 100% prepared and ready, and make sure that the opposition doesn't outclass us on the day of the match. That is our goals, and for the future, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't look too far into the future. But I think for now it's just to enjoy the moment and enjoy working with the players and seeing them excel at where they've been and where they are at the moment. And we'll assess once the tournament is finished in terms of where we reached our targets, or if we've fallen short, and what we still have to do to improve, and then we'll see where our destination leads us.
Very interesting, because from Kampala I went to Nairobi, and I spent time there. I obviously wanted to, because I could feel there's something happening in Nairobi. And I spoke to a colleague, a journalist colleague, who works for Nation Media Group, and he said to me, I can't remember the last time we felt like this about our national team. I said, what do you mean? He says, it's been long since we last felt this way about the national team. I'm like, no, man, tell me more. He says, Benny has changed the mentality of this national team. Wow. He has totally changed these boys. So for them, it's a big thing that they've gotten into a quarterfinal of a CHAN. It's a massive, massive thing. And he was even explaining to me, he says, no, he couldn't get all the players that he needed, obviously because of movements now. But he spoke about them, and I think I witnessed it. You look at the fact that they played a game for 70 minutes with one man down. Wow. And they still were able to get a result, I mean, they play with one man down again. This is 2 successive games, playing with one man down, but still being able to hold their own and win a game. I think that's too incredible. But very interesting, Ryan Ogam, the striker, I think he's 21, he plays for Tusker. Yes. I spoke about him, I think, last season. Yes. And I told someone here in South Africa, I said, you must watch that striker. He's done exceptionally well. He's scored 2 goals, in this CHAN. So there's a lot that Benny is doing, but I think the big thing is that they've taken his mentality. He's a fighter. Yes, the team is actually. They've actually taken that mentality of fighting and getting results. So something really nice that's cooking there in East Africa with Benny McCarthy.
There's a player I'm trying to see here, because there's this boy who plays. He was one of the players. Who's this boy, man? I think he was also a man of the match in one of the games. I'm just trying to check his name. He's a left-footed central midfielder.
That's for Kenya.
I'm not telling this boy. Mansour. Yeah, Mansour. One of the things, I was also at the under-20 AFCON, and what struck me about Coach Benny, in fact, even the technical team that I was engaging there, is how close he was to their preparations and looking at them. And I remember listening in one of his first press conferences in this game and in this tournament, talking about how he used a player like Mansour. Originally, I think is a left back, but he pushed him
into midfield.
Into midfield, and he was immense for him. And now this is where you see that even his vision is beyond that than just this Chen tournament, as we know that they're also preparing for AFCON 2027.
Look, very interesting when you say this because, this colleague I was speaking to said to me, I'm really worried that Benny may leave us soon. I'm like, no. So I said, no, he's not going to leave. He sees it's a project. He probably would want to be the host. Of
those Orlando Pirates rumors, I think they unsettled them.
They unsettled them a lot. But I said, look, it's a project. He would definitely want to be a host. Because, look, anything is possible.
Yes,
and he's still got that time, the next 2 years to sort of, build his squad. But the interesting thing is also the involvement of government. I saw him at the State House speaking to the president, and the president, offered them some,
the bonuses,
good bonuses, So I just saw him just engaging at the State House just about how important that was in terms of carrying the team when they were 1 minute down, needing to hold on and get a result, So I think, and it's quite rare, to see. Yes, it happened. Uganda as well, I think they had the same kind of incentive from the president, the hosts as well, Tanzania co-hosts. There was similar incentives, for them. So, but I think it's a beautiful thing that he's building this project, and there seems to be the backing of, the government. There is a lot of Kenyan talent, across the world. Surely, when he now fuses what he has now at Chan with some of these talents that are, outside Kenya, I think it's gonna be a very, very good team.
Yeah, I want us to go to quarterfinals now and do some penalty shootout type. I want to go to penalties and just look at the quarterfinals in terms of the predictions and stuff. But before I go there, another team very close to your heart. The Taifa Stars. Yes. How have you seen them during this tournament? Because one of the things that I've always been saying about Chen is that it's a reflection of how strong are the national leagues. What have you made of their performances? Maybe not in a tough group. They were not in a tough group as Kenya, because Kenya was in a very tough group on paper, and so was Uganda as well. But Taifa Stars?
Look, I think they've held their own. Obviously, the group wasn't as tough, but they've done their business nice and early. They were the first co-host they were the first country to qualify rather for the quarterfinals. But you can see, when I look at the growth trajectory of someone like Clement Mzize, he's on demand everywhere. Esperance, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, he's wanted. But when you look at his trajectory, from the time Nasreddin Nabi introduced him into the team to now, you can also see the influence of the foreign players that he's played with. People like Aziz Ki, he's played under Fiston Mayele, sort of understudied him. Now he comes into a Tanzania team and literally carries the team. I think he scored 3 goals, and very important goals. Which booked them their qualification. You look at the influence of when you look at that squad, the influence of players from Azam, people like Faisal Saloum, very influential in that midfield. You look at Shabalala, Mohamed Hussein. Yes. He's just crossed the floor.
He's gone to Yanga now.
Yeah. Also scored one of the goals, very, very important. Kapombo as well, coming in, Simba player. So you look at the influence of players from those teams in that squad, very important. Those are teams that have invested heavily. They've brought in high quality foreign players, and I think it's also done something to sort of push the levels of the local players, and they've got a very competitive team at this point. They go into the quarterfinals with belief that they can beat anyone. So very, very interesting when you look at them.
I want us to quickly go to the predictions now. On paper, Kenya against Madagascar. That's the first quarterfinal in Nairobi. What are you making of that one?
Look, I'll give it to Kenya. I think the way they've fought to get to where they are, I'll give it to them. But a narrow scoreline, they don't score too many goals.
Yes.
You look at them, I think they score one goal. They don't score too many goals.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a narrow win for them.
I think I will agree with you on that one. Tanzania, Morocco?
Tanzania, Morocco is going to be a very difficult one. I'll give it to Morocco.
Yeah.
I'll give it to Morocco.
It's tight, that one.
It's going to be a narrow one, though, as well.
Yeah. Possibly if the Dar fans can drive. Because on paper, I feel that Tanzania has got better players than Kenya, you know?
True.
But it takes more than just, you know.
Also just playing as a unit,
Yes.
which is one thing that Benny has been able to do with that squad. He's been able to sort of create a team that's strongly united. They play for each other. If you're going to play for 70 minutes and you have one man down, bro, surely you must cover for each other. So I think that could be maybe the difference.
Uganda, Senegal, very interesting.
Very interesting. I'd give that one to Senegal. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I saw the environment in that stadium is insane.
Wow.
The Nelson Mandela Stadium is crazy. Those people, the way they bet their team, it's not going to be easy for Senegal, but they will win it.
Yeah, and had Bafana managed the game better, you know?
Absolutely.
Things could have been different.
Yeah. Look, you have 7 minutes. You can't be defending deep. You just need to manage the game very well. You know, they've got the quality to. We saw it in the first half. You know,
Yes.
knocking the ball around and just manage the game away from your half.
Yes.
if possible. So yeah.
And the last one, Sudan and Algeria. And I think we're talking about quality here. And one of the things when I was talking to Coach Kwesi Appiah when he was here was that the difference here is that he's got players from Al Hilal and Al Merrikh. Al Merrikh, a team that could possibly face Pirates in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And for me, this is the difference here.
Yeah. Look, I think Chan is reflective of the strength of these leagues. And we also see it in the Champions League,
Yes.
CAF Champions League and CAF Confed as well. I think Sudan do have some, good quality, but I saw Algeria as well. Very mature, in the way they play. I would, if I were to put my head on the block, I'd give it to Algeria, based on how I saw them.
I was just surprised that Algeria, after their start, I look at their last 2 matches against Guinea and Niger, but that group was tough.
It was difficult.
It's easy to see it on paper, but as it turns out, it's something totally different. No, but good to see you back in the country. But are you not disappointed that we are not aggressive, especially from a South African point of view, in terms of our clubs in scouting this league, in fact, this tournament?
It's disappointing, man, because this is where these young talents, a lot of these teams. I was looking at the Guinea squad, the talent in that squad, crazy. This Kamara boy, the winger, I think he's 19. So that squad, I'm telling you, a lot of the players are under the age of 23. Probably in the team that started against Bafana, had 8 players who were under the age of 23. High quality talent, and this is where teams should be going to scout for talent. We've spoken before. Yves Bissouma was scouted by Sundowns.
Exactly.
But
from this tournament.
Yeah, from this tournament, but ended up.
And look at him now.
Yeah, ended up going to France.
To France,
eventually. Now he's in the EPL.
There was a £15 million offer even now for him.
So this is where South African clubs should be going to find talent. And it doesn't cost much.
No,
it doesn't cost much to get to a Kampala or a Tanzania.
I think our clubs needs to grow in this space. But I think I'll be making a big miss if organizational wise. What has been your take? Because this is there's the Pamoja as the 3 countries, and also the actual tournament in the bid was known. The big takeaway here has to be their preparations for 2027. What's the takeaway from?
Look, I think credit must be given to the three countries. I think they've done fairly fine, right, from an organization point of view. But I would have concerns, with what happened in Kenya, obviously, the ticketing issue.
The security. And CAF had to come in there.
Yeah, so that would be a big issue for me, which they are hosting the final. So it needs to be managed much better. Then secondly, maybe my experience in Uganda. Frustrating. I think the most frustrating thing for me was, as a journalist, I'm here to do my work. I'm a football journalist. I'm here to do my work. The amount of searching that you would go through, it was,
what kind of search is this?
Army officials, all over the stadium. But as you get into the stadium, my laptop is taken from my laptop bag is taken from me. I'm told to take out my laptop, take it out. I'm told to log into my laptop.
Log in?
Yeah.
What is that?
What are you looking for in my laptop? Come on.
Because we know that the laptop, they go through the scanner and all those things. But log in.
It's even worse than
And then
that.
when we've logged in, what do they do?
Log in and go and stand over there.
You log in and then you leave it with them?
I leave it with them. I go and stand over there and I don't know what they're looking for in my laptop. I'm like, but what are you looking for? The
M7 things.
No, it just didn't make sense to me. But look, and I was actually even just thinking, and I think I called you the first day it happened. I said, but Chairman, this is what is happening here.
Yeah.
I can tell you, journalists will be frustrated if they have to go through that in 2027. Yeah, that shouldn't be happening.
We've been to AFCONs, Egypt, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire. You don't get this kind of things.
No. I was speaking to a photographer who tells me they were on the verge of opening their camera and scrolling through the pictures. I'm telling you. And luckily someone from CAF then came and they said, no, you're not going to do this to this person. So, for me, that was the most frustrating.
And I'm sure this is something you're going to communicate to CAF.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important information for CAF to know as we prepare for 2027.
Yeah,
you don't want a scenario where people are frustrated everywhere.
No, because this is an international tournament. If that's how they are treating their citizens, but they must not extend this to an international tournament.
Visitors,
yeah. But I need to make a quick dash to the PSL. But before I leave you, because when I arrived here, you were working on a big story.
Yeah, it's been very interesting because I remember, I think the day that he left camp, and I wrote a story.
Ribeiro,
Ribeiro has actually left the Sundowns camp in Rustenburg, obviously pushing for a move because there is interest from a number of clubs, Prominence and Qatar FC, the clubs that were really pushing for him.
That was former team.
Now it's gotten to a point where he has written a resignation letter to the club and then referred the matter to the FIFA tribunal. So this is a first. I can't remember too many cases to refer to.
No, straight to FIFA like that.
Yeah.
And this is the latitude that players from outside South Africa can do. And unfortunately, when it comes to player status, FIFA is very quick to step in that space.
Yeah.
But what do you see happening here? Because there's a standing contract. What seems to be the gist of his grievance?
Look, there is a standing contract, which is what obviously then complicates it. And I'm sure Sundowns have honored every bit of that contract that they have with him. But his feeling is that they've not. There's been offers for him, but they've not really, sort of engaged, these clubs in earnest. But obviously, Sundowns would. I was speaking to someone at Sundowns. They were just explaining to me that look, when we sign a player from overseas, you look at the kind of fees that we will pay. When a club now wants him, it must make financial sense for us. So the financial sense. What makes financial sense for them? The player would be looking and thinking, but I want to go. there is an offer for me. He doesn't really...
And according to him, maybe that offer is a market value. And the other issue is that yes, Sundowns is paying these big monies for these players sometimes, but are those amounts that they are paying market values? Or it's them who go way above, and then now when the players have to be bought,
it becomes difficult. It will always be difficult because you look at the amounts that Sundowns pay. I mean, so many times I've looked and I'm thinking, okay, Arthur Salis, plus minus 60 million rand.
Yeah. So would you say in this sense, Ribeiro, this is coming back to haunt Sundowns?
Yes, absolutely, because look, you've paid way over the market value, and also the kind of salaries that you'd be paying to these players. You now need to factor that into the transfer fee when whoever comes wants to sign the player. It becomes difficult. You know, this is why it's impossible for players to leave Sundowns they need to sacrifice. If a player has to leave Sundowns, I'm going to another team.
And we've seen a lot of that.
Yeah. It's very difficult.
So the difference now is that this is playing itself on the international stage.
On the international stage and at FIFA.
So, yeah. And I think knowing some of the reasons, it's not a good look for Sundowns for this to be happening at FIFA at this stage. They've just came back from the FIFA Club World Cup, and also there are other reasons that we cannot talk about.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because Sundowns must always be seen as the model. Club. But having said that, also the player for the way Sundowns has transformed him from just a player who was there in the Dutch, in fact in the Belgian second division. It's not a good look also when he's taking Sundowns to that direction without exhausting the internal remedies.
Yeah, look, the internal remedies would delay him.
Okay.
Look, we've seen. It's never easy for a lot of these players to leave. Of course, they don't always get that attention that Ribeiro is getting, obviously, because of his status and what he did at the FIFA Club World Cup, and where he comes from, and the clubs that are looking for him. It's never easy for these players to leave.
But I also think that this is not a good reflection on Sundowns. When you look at the number of players who are going, who are alleged to be going through something similar. I mean, there was a talk of 25 million rand offer for Maseko, and also the Mudau situation as well. Litlaku also writing a letter to put on a transfer request as well. I don't think, and this is all happening in the same way. And we heard from Coach Cardoso that he's not comfortable with this thing.
There's quite a number of players that you can see just being away, going to a China. I mean, I think there was about 4 Sundowns players. Neo Mayema, who's since parted ways with the club. You could sense the frustration. Terence Mashego, just speaking to him, you could see the happiness being away.
The Igodaro situation, I saw what he wrote about that. I heard that he was even prepared to take Sundowns to court.
No, he was even prepared to go that route because, look, and I spoke to him last year, just before he joined Amazulu, and he was just expressing how difficult it is for him. I belong to Sundowns, but he's thinking, I need a fair chance to go and prove myself. I've never gotten the chance to prove myself. But at the same time, I can't move to a club where I can actually have 2-3 seasons, get used to my teammates, play with them, and show what I'm capable of. Which makes a lot of sense because, look, if you're a striker, you're moving from one club to the next, it's going to affect you. Now when it's time for him to move, it becomes a big problem. Now you have to fight. He's missed a whole preseason, just trying to fight to go where he wants to play football, So, but luckily for him, issue was resolved before it went to...
How do you see this Ribeiro one panning out?
Look, it's difficult because I was trying to look for references to see if there's been similar cases. I can't really find.
Yeah, no, myself and
cases, and so it's something that we need to watch and see, and sort of learn from. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of players would be looking, for the future.
Yeah, no,
they're at Sundowns as well.
I saw a lawyer friend saying, "Let the lawyers make money, man." And we've seen a lot of this. Sebelebele Mtende, you are back. Is Chiefs done in the market?
Look,
according to your knowledge,
we could still see maybe one more coming in.
Okay,
possibly.
Yeah, interesting
player. We need to keep a close eye.
Or interesting players.
Very interesting. I think they've done some good
business.
No,
I think there's some serious good balance in their squad now.
Yeah, they've addressed the problems. Left back was a problem. The coach, I remember your story where the coach says, "I want a specialist left back." Now they have a specialist left back. Soshinga, they have a specialist left back. Pasika Marco, needed cover on the right for Frosler. They've brought in, Tabiso is doing very well. Munyan is doing really well for them. They've brought in Veleba. I've heard good things from his new teammates that he's doing crazy things in training. Igodaro comes in as well to compete.
The attack has been addressed.
There's young Naleti Hlongwane who's seemingly exciting the coaches there.
There's Bure.
There's Bure as well, who's, we know the future of the boy is really bright. Maybe they still need to probably get a CDM, because I see, when you play Ox there, sometimes it limits you in terms of what it does, with the ball, when he wins the ball. I see they've tried playing Tabo there, but maybe they need that, a proper CDM. I'm not saying this player, in the mold of Aucho, what Aucho did for years for young Africans. Of course, his left is now at Singida, but just the ability to win the ball, detect the tempo, play it and make the team play. That kind of, I don't know who, but yeah.
Box to box things.
Box to box.
Sebelebele Mtende, we've spoken about Chen. Welcome back home, and I'm sure nabantwana bajabule kakhulu ekhaya ukuthi ubuyile. Sofina sihambe kodwa manje. We need that 6 points in Bloom.
We promised the Super Eagles we're gonna take them to Bloom.
Yeah. So yes, we've spoken about the Ribeiro situation. Expect it to be a hot story over the next few days, and also maybe Amakosi 1 or 2 more signings. I don't know, but you know him. Umlomo ongakhulumi amanga.